Hello everyone, so welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we'll start with the modular exponentiation using distributive law, and this topic is new to you. So before going to start with this topic, let's see where we are exactly now. Since already we are aware with this tree structure and where the whole topic of modular arithmetic chapter are categorized into the 4 exercises 1, 2, 3 and 4, and already we have covered exercise number 1 and exercise number 2. So now today we'll start with exercise number 3, and in exercise number 3 here we need to study the 4 topics which is given below. That is a modular explanation using distributive law, little Fermat theorem, Euler Totient function, Euler theorems, right? So here each and every topics are related with the modular exponentiation calculation only, right? So now first we'll start with modular exponentiation using distributive law, and so before going to the problem solving part, let's see some theoretical background related to the modular exponentiation using distributive law. So first start with the distributive law, right? So basically the distributive law will be helpful to us whenever we want to calculate modulus value of any higher order exponent factor. So that can be explained with the help of example. Suppose we want to calculate a power 4 mod of m, then how the distributive law will be applicable over here, that I'm going to explain. If you want to calculate a power 4 mod of m, so what you can do, first calculate a power 2 mod of m, right? That we can find. Then after calculating a power 2 mod of m, whatever result will come, again we'll take the square of that result and again we'll take the mod of m, then automatically we'll get the value of a power 4 mod of m. So this is how performed over here. Here we have the power 4, and here the power 4 is distributed in 2 times. The first power 2 is here and second power 2 is here, and if we multiply 2 and 2, then automatically we'll get 4. So here the power 4 is distributed here and here, right? So that's why it is called distributive law. So the second example says, if you want to calculate a power 8 mod of m, right? Then how the distributive law will be applicable, that we're going to see. First what you have to do, first take a power 2 mod of m. Now we have taken a power mod of m, and whatever result will come, again we'll take the square of the result and then again we'll take the mod of m. So now we have performed 2 into 2 become 4, right? Now again one more 2 is pending. So whatever result is there, in second attempt we'll take the square of that result and again we'll take the mod of m. So now here we can say, here we have the power 8. Here power 8 is distributed in 3 times, 2, 2 and 2. If you multiply 2 multiply by 2 multiply by 2, so 2 to the 4 to the 8, right? So 8 will come. So this is how we have applied the distributive law in case of a power 8. And if you want to calculate a power 16 mod of m using distributive law, then how it will work, that we'll see now. In a power 16, so first of all what we'll do, again we'll repeat the same process. First take a square mod of m, then whatever result will come, again we'll take the square and then mod of m. Second attempt, again in third attempt what we'll do, whatever result is there for the second attempt, again we'll perform the square of that thing and we'll take the mod of m. And again in the fourth attempt, whatever result has came for the third attempt, again we'll take the square of that result and we'll take the mod of m. Hence we can say here a power 16 is distributed into what? 4 times, 1, 2, 3 and 4. If you multiply 2 for 4 times, then automatically we will get 16 only, right? So this is how the distributive law works. So whatever I had explained till now, it may look a little bit complex, but that can be make easy in other ways. So that I'm going to explain now. What here you can do, if you want to calculate a power 4 mod of m, the rule is very simple, as we have performed earlier, right? First you take a square mod of m and then square of mod of m, and whatever result has came, you can consider it as a x. So it will reduce the complexity of the previous case, right? And how the complexity will be reduced, that we're going to see now. And after that, if you want to calculate a power 8, only what you have to do, whatever result has came for a power 4, only you have to take the square of the result, that is a x square, and then we'll take the mod of m. Then automatically you will get the a power 8 mod of m. And if you want to calculate a power 16, so what you can do, you can consider the answer of the a power 8 mod of m is nothing but y. So now if you want to calculate a power 16, so now we'll use this y and we'll take the square of y and then we'll take the mod of m. Then automatically you will get a power 16 mod of m. I hope you understood this thing, right? This is the one approach, and this is the another approach what I had explained to you, and this approach is little bit simple. So you can go for any approach as per your choice. And one more thing is you need to focus over here. Whenever we want to take the power of a, right, in the distributive law, here the first factor is a, right? Here we are taking the a power 4, a power 8 and a power 16 mod of m, right? But one thing you need to focus over here. Here whatever power you have, here the power you have 4, here the power is 8 and here the power is 16. In the distributive law, the power of a should be present in form of 2 raised to n, where n can be 1, 2, 3 or onward, right? It says that, it means that here we have taken the power of a as 4 because it is a second power of 2, right? If I'll take the 2 raised to 2, right? If I'll put n equal to 2, so 2 raised to 2 become 4. So here 4 is there, right? If I'll put n equal to 3, so it will be 2 raised to 8. So here we have taken a raised to 8. If I'll put the n equal to 4, so it will be a raised to 16. So whatever calculation here we are looking, the power of a should be present in form of power of 2, right? Power of 2 is nothing but what? 2 raised to 1, 2 raised to 1, 2 raised to 1 is 2, 2 raised to 2 is 4, 2 raised to 3 is 8, 2 raised to 4 is 16, and then onward you can go for a raised to 32 also, a raised to 64 also. But whatever power is there, it should be present in form of 2 raised to n. Only then and only distributive law will be applicable over here, right? I hope you understood that much thing till now, whatever I had explained. So now this is another approach, right? So now we'll take the one more example, and where how to resolve the power of a if it is not present in form of 2 raised to n, right? Suppose here we have taken example, and here we want to calculate a power 25 mod of m. If we'll see 25, so 25 is not present in order of 2 raised to n, right? So what you can do over here, you can split a power 25 into two parts. So a power 1 and a power 24. Again, a power 24 is not present in form of 2 raised to n, right? So what we can do over here, again we can reduce that thing. So it will be a raised to 1 only, because a raised to 1 is nothing but 2 raised to 0 is 1 only, right? So here, so a is present in form of 2 raised to n, where n can be 0 also. And here we have a raised to 24 can be split into two parts. So it will be a raised to 8 and a raised to 16, where a raised to 8 is present in form of what? 2 raised to n, and a raised to 16 also present in form of 2 raised to n. So hence we can evaluate this thing, right? So now here we can apply distributive law also. I hope you understood everything related to the distributive law. So this is the end of this lecture, and from the coming lecture we will start with the problem solving part. Thank you.